This is Ron Klopfanstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hey everyone, I'm Ron Klopfanstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. I want to welcome everyone who is streaming the video of this broadcast on Facebook Live, as well as our audio streaming audience at 955theheat.com, and those of you listening to our broadcast on 95.5 FM. I want to begin the show tonight by observing the fact that this is World AIDS Day, a disease that has killed millions, especially those like me who are members of the gay community. I'm going to use some words from a friend of mine on Facebook. He wrote, and I'm going to echo his words, "I mark this day in remembrance of those we lost and in defiance of the president who refuses to acknowledge that loss." Tonight, we'll begin hanging out with classical musicians Colleen O'Neil and Elizabeth Evans from the Alliance Classical Players. They have a Downton Abbey themed event coming up this weekend. I'm a huge Downton Abbey fan, and they're going to be here to tell us about it. But first, we go to Herkimer for a difficult conversation I had with a family torn apart by ICE. Here's my report. I'm Ron Klopfanstein in Herkimer. At a time when many families come together to celebrate the holidays, one local family has been torn apart. Let me ask you, what recently happened to your parents?
So back in late July, we had ICE agents that knocked on our side door asking where my mother is. At that time, my mom was on a trip to the city, so she was not at home. So they went to our restaurant thinking they might find her there, but she was not there. But my father was there, and they looked at my dad's ID. They asked us where our mom is, and we said that she's in the city, she's on a trip visiting a friend. She wasn't there, and my dad, who has a work authorization, he goes to the ICE office regularly for appointments and the USCIS office for appointments. So he told the ICE agent that, and then we kind of just asked why are they here for my mom? Because I understand my dad, who had appointments, we originally thought it was for him.
Yeah.
But
later they asked, hey, to take my mother to his ICE appointment.
How long have your parents been in this country?
So for 20 years at least. My parents came in the early 2000s. My dad, he came here, but he on a work authorization, but he was also told to regularly check in with ICE in order to keep his work authorization, which he did. And so growing up, I always remember going with him to either the Office for Homeland Security or either maybe an ICE office to check in due to biometric appointments. So I always went with him. My mom, she had a visa when she came in, so she never really had to go to appointments or anything. That's why we were surprised when the ICE agents came looking for her.
In the time your parents were here, have they ever committed a crime or done anything to, say, undermine the United States or, be kind of contrary to what the United States is all about? Had they caused trouble?
No, they are a very big believer of the American dream. They always believe that, when you come here, you work hard. They literally work 10 hours a day, earn as much money as they can, not for themselves, but for us. They want to build a better life for future generations. So they've always been very careful to work hard, earn money, and make sure that, they also follow the rules and regulations that are here.
What did you think when were you the one that opened the door to the ICE agent? What did that feel like?
It was scary for a second, because there were 4 or 5 people that show up, and obviously
ski masks.
There were ski masks. There were suits, ICE suits,
their identity was hidden.
Well, some of them were, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
But the first thing I asked, where's your mom? Like,
Yeah.
to that, I was kind of hesitant, like, why are you asking for my mom?
Right. Right.
Why are you here?
Right. What did you? And when you told them, how did they respond?
They just said, we're looking for her. They
Yeah.
didn't really say anything.
They didn't say why or.
I don't believe they had a warrant. And we were waiting in the waiting room for like 40 minutes, and then the same ICE agents that came here, they came out. They asked my parents if they had passports here, and then which my parents said they didn't have that on them, so they kind of just like took them in, and then I asked, should I go too, because my parents needed a translator.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they just went, no, we have someone on the phone that'll translate for them.
But not even in person.
Huh?
They didn't even have a
No,
translator.
I don't
in
believe
person?
so.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I just like waited out there for a bit, and I didn't like being there because like being in a place like that, I felt kind of anxious. So then I asked if I could wait in the car,
Yeah.
and then I did. Another like 40 minutes went by.
Was anyone with you other than your parents, or were it separate?
No, it
from
was
you?
just me
So you were
that
by
day.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the agents went to my car, knocked on the window, and told me, you don't have to be here anymore. That's what they straight up said. It was like something like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, excuse me, where's my
Right.
parents? They're like, they're gone.
That's what they said to you. Your parents are gone.
Yeah. I was like, or like, they're deported. It was like a very kind of inhumane way to say it.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't just aggressive, it was like blunt. Like, hey, it's raining right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Cold.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then
So what did you do? What
I
did you say?
I kind of just like froze and said okay, and then
Yeah.
like rolled up the windows
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just like sat there for a minute. And then
He called me.
yeah, I
Yeah.
called her. I was saying, I don't even remember what I said. I was like
I first like,
just saying like, oh my god,
Right,
they're gone. I was
Yeah.
just like kept blabbing on. I'm like, what do I do?
Right.
What do I do? What do I do?
The overwhelming
yeah.
fear in the moment. It's hard
Yeah.
to, it's hard to express other than your, distress and fear, and something has to be done. So, but I'm sure you figured out pretty quickly what happened.
yeah, I was halfway to school. I had to stop at a random station just like to,
On the thruway.
yeah, on the subway train, and then just to answer his call. And then I told him, okay, I asked him if he can go back to the ICE agent office to at least see our parents before they are taking anything away, because
Right.
it's very sudden. We did not prepare for any of these.
Right. And this is your mom and dad. Like,
Yeah.
You live with your mom and dad your whole life. You're, late
Yeah.
teens, early 20s. Your mom and dad, suddenly the government takes them away for no reason. What is it? How do you carry out in those next days, those next hours, your college students? How do you go? How do you go to class? How do you do your homework?
Well,
He's still a senior in high school.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
So,
You're a senior in high school, and both your parents have been taken by
Yeah.
the government.
it was 2 days before school for me, so I kind of just got the earliest bus to New York City and visited my sister.
Yeah.
We have a lawyer because my parents, they are currently applying for a green card. Their green card applications are still processing.
Yeah.
So we had a lawyer working with that.
Yeah.
And then after this happened, our lawyer obviously knew, and then they have submitted requests for release.
Yeah.
They have mentioned that like having letters from the community asking for my parents' release have been really helpful.
So, from this story that I'm doing now, what is something that, the people watching this story, and I could put information in the story, should they write a letter? Should they send it to your lawyer? Should they send it to, what's it? You could tell me afterwards, some things people could do that I could put into the story that could help.
We had a few family friends that had written letters to our lawyers at the ICE office that are reviewing their case or something like that,
Yeah.
asking for the release of my parents and kind of like mention how like they were part of the community. They have been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
I think most importantly, it's just be aware, I guess. This goes for everything. If you see something like wrong, it's okay to like call out about that. I kind of wish that like I was more like calling them out, asking like, hey, this is wrong, or at very least ask a warrant in front of them.
That would have done no good. I really think that the way that you're describing it, you know, considering what happened to you, this traumatic experience, I think you handled it very well. Just the fact that you were able to ask a question at all, and just the fact that you were able to like call your sister and explain to her what happened, and then get yourself to New York. You know, you handled it incredibly well. So don't be hard on yourself in any possible way. The question now is like, what can we do to help you? You know? So, and I think you're making a good point that like a thing that we have to remember as humans and as Americans is we do have an obligation to call out injustice. So like what form could that take that you think would be most helpful to you, or that maybe would be most reassuring to you at this time?
I mean, we personally, like,
I think like
we can still live a stable life, if that makes sense. Like,
currently we are just focusing on ways to get my parents out.
What was their American dream? How did they see the United States, and what did they come here to do, and what were they doing here in the United States?
So
it was mostly to escape poverty.
It was to make sure that as like their future generations have the life that they want to live out. They've been here 20 years. They worked a lot. They always make sure they follow rules. They pay all their taxes. I've seen it. And even as as a small business, we do also pay like a lot of property and local taxes. So like they want to make sure that they're doing everything correctly. They also want to earn enough money so we can have the education that we want to get the job that we aspire to be. For example, like I want to be a language teacher. I'm currently studying in New York City.
That's a good goal.
I really want to be a public teacher.
Good for you.
Because my aspirations, like at least my 5-year goal, I gain a few experiences in the city, and I also want to return back to teach in rural areas.
Well, good job. That's what I do.
Yeah. So like this has come the life that I wanted for myself.
Yeah.
And then my parents understood it, and then they wanted to support me in that.
How about you? What's your American dream?
I want to be a patent lawyer. So there's a school, RPI, that my dad always wants me to go because it's only an hour away from here, and it's a good school. So like I'll be together with my family.
How do you carry on and go about your life with optimism and without being bitter in the face of such a massive injustice? Especially since one of the things that I find so bothersome about this is that it's an injustice kind of being done in the name of the United States, and it's an injustice that goes against what the United States is actually about. How do you wrap your heads around that and just go through life without being mad?
Well, I always like to think that we're fortunate that we're set in a position where like even with our parents gone, like we're still able to continue our lives. Like my parents still have their business here. I don't have to, work at McDonald's or something just so I can feed myself,
Yeah.
I can rely on the income from that. I'm still surrounded by family members, like adult family members that are like willing to take care of me if I need anything.
And even like family friends from local community that are willing to support. So that has helped us. And also just kind of like, it's kind of like hope for the future, because like I know that they're not going to be detained forever. Either even if they go back to China or they stay here, like as long as they're not detained, we can still. It's not like we're going to be separated forever.
Where are they?
They,
My mom is in Louisiana, and then my dad's in New Mexico.
Has ICE accounted for that? Like, why take them so far away from you, and why separate them from each other?
I never understood that.
It might be because like their situation, like the way they got into United States was different. You know.
It seems unusually cruel.
Yeah.
So.
Because when they were first detained, their first move to, my dad was moved to Buffalo, and then my mom was moved to Plattsburgh.
Yeah.
That was where they were first held, and then, but then they were moved to other states. Sometimes when I called, we had some lawyer to call. They simply told us that there wasn't enough space, which is kind of insane.
Well, they could let him go.
Because like
make some more space.
Yeah, and so like they had to move them, and then they said that they were being deported.
They could let all these innocent people go and make lots of space. You know.
They said that they were going to be deported, but the thing is, they have been detained for 3 months. They haven't been deported yet.
Right.
Because for me, it's like I don't want them detained any longer, rather than being like in a place that.
What are the conditions like in their detention? What is it like? Have they told you?
They have called us.
They probably withhold a bit because you're their children. I'm sure that there's things they don't want you to know. I mean,
but it's very crowded and limited space. They have
a lot of people come in, but like a lot of people are successfully deported in there, from what I heard, because especially my dad's, they're really close to like the southern border.
Yeah.
So it sounds like people, anyone who came in illegally from Mexico, they were like just instantly.
What would happen to your parents if they were deported to China? What do you think? What would happen to you?
For me,
at least they wouldn't be suffering in a detention facility. So that's something.
For me, in China, they can't come back to the U.S., so we can't see each other as much as we want. But also, like, my parents were also religious. They go to church. They're Christian, so it's harder. It will be harder to practice their religion a bit.
Yeah.
In China, because my whole family is Christian.
Yeah.
So
they kind of counted on the United States and freedom of religion being there and protecting people who exercise that First Amendment right. I imagine. Is there anything else that do your parents have any message for like the outside world, or do you have anything else you'd like to say?
It's just that it's not. I guess it's nice to know that this community is supporting us, and my parents are fighting to come back, and we just really hope that our family's back together, because really without them we really don't have a family.
The family would like people to know that they still believe in the American dream and that they're counting on the support of the community at this difficult time. In Herkimer, I'm Ron Klopfanstein for 95.5 FM, The Heat. If you would like to help out, you can contact the family using this email address. It's elisaxio2468@gmail.com. That's like Elisa Chow, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it's elisaxio2468@gmail.com. I'll have that tonight on my YouTube channel and my Facebook and social media platforms, and I'll have that email address in there too. So right now it's just the three kids, young adults, 2 college students, and a high school senior. Both of their parents were taken, and they're just doing the best they can. So they asked if you'd like to help out, please email them. I'll have this whole episode online Wednesday at 9 p.m. at uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. Now, when we come back, we'll be in a Christmas mood. We're going to hang out with classical musicians Colleen O'Neil and Elizabeth Evans from the Alliance Classical Players. They have a Downton Abbey themed event coming up this weekend, and they're going to tell us all about that. I'm Ron Klopfanstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. I'll have more after the break. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hey everyone, welcome back to the hot seat on this Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfanstein. Colleen O'Neil and Elizabeth Evans from the Alliance Classical Players are here. They have a Downton Abbey theme coming up this weekend, and I'm a huge Downton Abbey fan. Colleen, let's start with you. But first, let me ask you, what's your instrument? What do you actually play?
My main instrument is clarinet.
Clarinet. So that's a woodwind, right?
That's a woodwind.
It's a woodwind. And like, what are good composers, or like, what when a classical musician plays a clarinet, what composers, or what kind of works are they drawn to?
Well, everybody's drawn to the Mozart concerto.
Why
and
is
loves
that?
Because
what is
it's
about
such
Mozart?
an icon. He's just, Mozart means melody. Everybody loves the melodies he creates. He seems to write so specifically for each instrument to make the instrument shine.
Interesting.
And
so you're a clarinet player. So you pick up a piece of Mozart's work, right? As a clarinet player, what do you see? Like, how do you know that like he spoke to you, or like that he knew your instrument?
just from the writing and the way I don't know, he kind of makes the instrument sing through the music. It really brings it to life.
Yeah. And how do you bring it to life? What's your process? How did you learn how to play it? I was going to say, and how much practice still do you do?
Well, not as much as I ought to. I'm lucky if I get about an hour a day.
That seems like a lot to me.
Still working part-time. But, when we were studying in college, it was 4 to 5 hours a day minimum.
Wow.
And, because those are really the formative years. Your college years are really when you're really developing your technique and your sound and your style. And,
right.
Yeah, so you put in the time, and that's really, really important. But
Elizabeth, what's your instrument?
I am a flutist.
Okay. And so what composer particularly speaks to you, or like what do you feel vibes with you the best as someone who plays the flute?
Well, I also love Mozart.
Okay.
And he didn't really like the flute as far as I know, because he didn't write enough for the flute, but I do love to play that. But really, the flute came into its own in the French composers period, late 1800s, early 1900s. Yeah.
How did that come about?
Fauré, and there were some great flutists at the Paris Conservatory, and there's just a lot of repertoire from that period by different French composers.
So, like, there were notable players at the time that inspired the composers.
Some were composers. Some were players who enlisted composers in the school, and so there's a good amount of repertoire from that period for the flute.
So would that be like a time period in the history of music and culture when, like, a peak time for the flute, would you say?
Yes. Actually, the modern system flute was really designed, the flute that we use now was sort of standardized in the mid-1800s.
So what are some of the things that like happened, and I'll come back to you with the clarinet too. I'm so interested, like, what happened in the mid-1800s that made it so that the flute became more prominent and maybe like more refined into what we know it as now, or maybe as the sound that it makes now? Is that what you would say? Or like, what happened to the flute in the 1800s?
Well, I think prior to that, the flutes, they're handmade instruments, and if they were made by craftsmen in Italy, they were one way, in France another way. Everybody had their own sort of system of keys and so in the 1850s one flutist in particular standardized the system of keys and made the flute more standard from place to place, but also more in tune, more
Now, how do you feel like as a flutist now? Is it flutist or flautist, or how do you say?
I love to answer that question. So I say flutist because James Galway, who's one of my favorites, he liked to call himself a flutist rather than a flautist, which is a little bit stuffy in his opinion. And flutist, he said, is American, and he loves American flutists.
Yeah, and it is a flute, How do you, as a flutist, so like, if like if classical music now that you're performing now, when you're confronted with a piece of music that you feel your instrument is underwritten, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you compensate for that, or how would maybe a conductor make sure that the flutes are heard?
There's never any issue with the flutes being
Really? Because they're
play the
they're
high
so
notes.
faint. Oh, that's right. You play you go high. That's right. Yes, right.
Yeah, the
top
ear
voice
hears
of the
those
orchestra.
tones.
Yeah.
Oh, so in a way, that's kind of like a special role that a flute plays in an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
What does the clarinet play?
In the orchestra?
Yeah, like what's a special thing that a clarinet does? What's the thing that you can do with a clarinet that, say, maybe someone couldn't do with a sax, or even like more distinctly, like with a tuba or a guitar? Like, what is a clarinet?
Well, so it really is more about color with the clarinet in the orchestra, I think, because of where it's situated actually in the orchestra setup. It's close to the bassoons, it's close to the oboes, it's behind the flutes, and it just kind of has that central location where it's honing in on each other woodwind instrument, and it's played really well. Its ability to match and blend with other woodwinds and even other strings and brass too is really great. When it all comes together, it's just really neat.
So could you say it's sort of like foundational in like the construction of the sound of an orchestra?
Yeah,
The
I would say
flute.
so, at least within the woodwind family section of the orchestra.
And now, for those who don't know, what does it mean when they say a woodwind? Like, there's different kinds of, there's the strings, there's the brass, there's the woodwind, and the percussion. You both are woodwind, right?
Yep.
Even though the flute doesn't actually have a reed, it's still a woodwind, right? So
Correct.
what does that mean, a woodwind then?
So they originally were all made out of wood. And,
Okay.
So
I
the
thought it was
clarinet
because
is made out of...
I thought it was because what do you call that thing? I just said the word.
reeds,
I thought it was
yeah.
because the reeds were wooden, so the instruments were wooden at one time too.
Yeah, well, the clarinet is still made
That's
out
right.
of wood.
Clarinet's still kind of a wood. Oh,
Granadilla
right.
wood. And so the flute was originally a wooden instrument as well.
Yes.
But then over the years, like Beth said, it kind of morphed into the current flute that we have today. Bassoons are woodwind instruments. Oboes are made out of wood as well. The saxophone is actually a bridge between the woodwind and the brass instruments.
I didn't know that.
It is made out of...
Because it is kind of brassy.
Yep,
Oh,
it's
right,
brassy,
right.
but it has
Yeah.
a single reed, like the clarinet, although it's larger to fit the larger mouthpiece.
Oh, that's interesting. So a saxophone is kind of in both.
Yep.
Any other instruments like that are in both?
Not that I can think of.
Is the flute unique in the woodwinds in that it doesn't need a reed?
Yes, it is.
Why doesn't it need a reed? I guess it's just probably how it's constructed.
Right, the
but,
tone is
you know.
produced by blowing across the embouchure opening, the mouthpiece of the flute, and it, more like you would
So that
kind of
creates
blowing
the
across
vibration.
an old
Yeah.
glass Coke bottle.
Okay.
So the tone is produced that way, and that means we have a lot less work to do establishing good quality reeds. Reed making is a skill that I don't have to worry about.
I was going to ask you, that is like a whole separate thing too.
Yeah.
Like to actually do you actually make your reeds or just like prepare your reeds?
I work on my reeds. I don't actually create them myself. Some clarinet players do.
Yeah.
But I buy pre-made reeds and then I shave them down to the strength that I want them to be that works for me.
What's the difference in the strength of a reed?
Usually the thinner reed is typically an easier blowing reed and has a lower pitch. So vice versa for a thicker reed. But it depends on your whole setup, how your mouthpiece is, the ligature which holds the reed on. And there's so many variables with the clarinet, and saxophone is similar too in the many variables that you've got. But yeah, so, and it depends on what you prefer. Everybody's embouchure setup is different too.
Right.
So there's some trial and
What is
error.
embouchure?
The formation of your mouth, lips, teeth, and so
Yep,
on around
yep.
the mouthpiece.
Now, what are some of the unique factors that makes your performance? Like, there is the shape of your mouth. There is how you prepare the reed, whether you have one or not. I would think with the instruments, although like instruments now are standardized in production, I would still think like with any piece of wood or piece of metal, there's still some like variation.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the factors that make your individual performances your performances?
And the instruments you're talking themselves?
Yeah, like in terms of like just physically making of the actual sound. Then I'll ask you after, like in terms of like your what you bring to it in terms of like your approach. But like in terms of like just the physical sound, what makes the sound that we hear?
Well, I mean, technically speaking, for a clarinet, when you blow into the mouthpiece with the reed attached to it, the vibration of the reed is what creates the sound, and the air flowing through the instrument creates the sound.
And the air is like impacted by what keys you press down.
Yes, it is. And so just like there's variables in your embouchure and your setup, there's a lot of variables between instruments too, even between, among different kind of clarinet brands, and whether your instrument is made out of wood or plastic, which a lot of beginners begin on.
Oh, really? Plastic too? I didn't
Yeah,
realize
they're less
that.
expensive, and they're more durable in the hands of
right. 5th grade.
children.
'Cause that's when it starts, in 5th grade.
Typically,
So it makes a lot of sense.
It does, yeah.
I've seen those kids with Chromebooks, so it's like,
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, so the different instruments create a different sound. Everybody's, air supply, breath control, endurance affects the sounds that are created too. So,
is it the same with the flute?
Very much so. Yes. Yes. Flute,
Have you ever
I think
played-
it's a little bit more like singing a little bit because with the shape of our mouth,
Because
everything
there's no
plays
reed.
into it because there is no reed. So
It must be more like maybe immediate, like a more immediate connection between your mouth and the instrument without that reed in the middle. Have you
More
ever
direct,
played an instrument like with a reed? So
Oh,
do you,
yeah.
so like you kind of know what the difference is then. Yeah. Great. Well, we're going to talk more about. I want to ask you too, like, what is a performance by each of you? Like, how do you as artists approach your craft too? So I'm going to ask you about that in the next segment here. So we're talking to Colleen O'Neil and Elizabeth Evans from the Alliance Classical Players. They have a Downton Abbey themed event coming up this weekend, and they're here to tell us about that. I'm Ron Klopfanstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. More after the break. Hot seat on a Media Monday. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. On the next Hot Seat Media Monday, we're going to hang out with author Lisa Fazio. She's an herbalist and folkloric witch who's trained in Western herbalism, Western astrology, and the ancestral healing of her Italian immigrant ways. She's also an academic with a background in psychology and ethnobotany. That's the Hot Seat Media Monday coming up next Monday, December 8th, right here on 95.5 FM. The Heat. I also think we have next week Cleo Cupid. She's going to be one of our new sponsors here. She has a burlesque show coming up. She'll be here. I'm also going to have a story on, remember Utica DIY shows? They're doing a toy drive punk rock concert to get toys for the kids at ICANN, so I'm going to go cover that. And also, the Downton Abbey thing. We're going to talk about that now. So, Colleen O'Neil and Elizabeth Evans from the Alliance Classical Players are here. They have a Downton Abbey themed event coming up this weekend. They're here to tell us about that. So, Colleen, let's start with you. What is this thing going to happen this weekend on Saturday?
On Saturday, we're doing a Downton Abbey themed concert, and the music will be, well, first we're going to start with a theme from Downton Abbey.
Oh my gosh, I love that
course.
song. One of my
Yes.
all-time favorite themes.
Yep, it's arranged for our group specifically by our conductor, Michael Sermo. So that was really nice of him to do. And then we're going to do some classical music that you might have heard if you went to a house concert at Downton Abbey.
Oh, wow,
back
that
in the
sounds so
day.
cool.
Because
Oh my gosh.
the fancy house concerts would have
Yes,
had.
we saw those on the show.
yes.
This is so great. It's
They
going to be
would
like
have had-
going to one.
Yep, they would have had professional musicians playing off in the corner
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah,
singing,
yes.
things like that. So we've got the piece Sleigh Ride by Frederick Delius, the Christmas Concerto by Corelli, A Christmas Greeting by the English composer Edward Elgar, and a couple of other, and music from the Nutcracker, of course. That would have been very popular and played at a Downton concert
would have?
too.
Okay.
It would have,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then we've got an arrangement by the English composer, living composer Ray Thompson. He does a lot of the
Oh,
arrangements.
he's still
that we
alive?
play.
There's a composer composing
Yep.
nowadays? Really? Wow.
Yeah, he's
wow.
a modern day composer. He does a
Cool.
lot of arrangements for our group
Oh, neat.
Not specifically our group, but
Yeah,
we've bought
yeah.
his arrangements.
Yeah.
But he's probably one of the most prominent ones we've played. Our group is pairs of flutes, clarinets, oboes, bassoons, and French horns.
Okay.
Plus string bass. Plus we have some percussion on this
Yeah.
concert. So So
that seems like a pretty big group.
It's a pretty big group. We we don't always use the whole group in every concert, or sometimes we'll start with a smaller group and then have the bigger group come on. But we really like the whole group. It has a great sound.
Yeah,
You know, those
yeah.
instruments together have a great sound, and we love working with our conductor Mike. You know, it just works out great. So we're doing a piece by Ray Thompson, and then we're doing some Christmas carols, of course. 'Cause,
Oh,
You know,
nice.
you would
Yes,
certainly have heard
yes.
those at Downton Abbey. A lot
Yep.
of our American Christmas carols really started
probably
out.
from them.
Yes,
Yeah,
came from
yeah.
England. Like Ding Dong, Merrily on High, We Wish You Merry Christmas, and so on and so forth. So, and then interspersed with the music, we've got 5 fan fiction type stories
Oh, wow.
that are Downton Abbey themed. So,
So what are you going to do with those?
so we have an announcer. Ted Lenio is our usual announcer. He loves to come to our concerts, and he's a great speaker and
Yeah.
actor. So he's going to read those stories in between the music. So
Oh my gosh, that sounds so
It'll
great.
be fun. The 5 stories are. It's called Downton Abbey Christmas 1924, and that has to do with the children putting on a pageant at
Yeah.
Downton. And then we've got a story that focuses on Violet and Isabel and their,
Oh,
you know
nice.
how
My
they
2
spar.
favorites. Oh,
Yeah, they
yes,
spar
yes.
sometimes. And then
Yes.
there's a sweet Mary and Matthew story,
Oh, nice.
and one with Tom and Sibby,
Nice,
little Sibby,
nice.
and then of course one with Carson and Mrs. Hughes.
Oh, great.
So,
great.
so that'll be really fun. And then afterwards, we're going to have desserts in the dining room at Rome Art and Community Center. So the whole
Wow.
concert's free. Starts at 7 p.m. this coming Saturday at Rome Art and Community Center. Free admission, of course, and the reception is complimentary as well. So we hope to see a lot
Gosh.
of people there. And the Arts Center is
Beautiful place.
so beautiful, and
Yeah.
especially this time of year, it's just decorated to the hilt, beautifully
Oh,
decorated.
bet it is. Yeah.
And it's a great place for chamber music. Just the ambiance and the
Look at
atmosphere.
the acoustics,
the
right?
acoustics are great.
Like the floors, I would
Yep,
think, the wood
yep.
floors.
So lovely. So we love playing there, and they really support us a lot. They love having us there.
great
We love
place.
being there. It's a great place, and they have so much going on. They have a lot of music events
Yeah.
coming up. Like after the new year, they start with music every Monday. There are different types.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all kinds.
So Elizabeth, why Downton? What is about Downton Abbey?
I
That
think,
seems like Christmassy. You know, why? What is Downton to you?
Well, a favorite show for one.
I
but
know,
as we
I
spoke,
know,
it's
I know.
it's
Still,
sort of
yeah.
universal popularity. You know, I think
Yeah.
people think of that time period and
Yep.
the
There's something
elegance
warm
of
about
it.
that.
and-
Yeah.
It's like super warm too.
Yes.
Like, you know, I think about that like with Christmas time. It seems like a Christmassy show, even when it's
Yeah.
not a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
It just has that feel to it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like what do you love about it?
pretty nearly everything. We've done one of these in the past. We had one.
Oh,
where
yeah?
we
We did.
did
Yeah.
fancy hats and everything.
Yeah.
Served tea, but
Yeah.
just the charm and the elegance of it. I think are very appealing, and it's
Yeah.
so suited to the venue that we're using. So suited to
Right.
the Rome Art Community Center, which is a beautiful place.
Yeah, I love the characters. I just
Yeah, me
I
too.
went
Me
at the
too.
the last show of the 6th season. I just thought I'm gonna miss hanging out with these
I know,
characters.
right, right.
Our other flute
Right.
player was a huge Downton fan too, and she said I'm gonna miss seeing these people. I feel like they're part of my family. You know,
That's
it's so
what it's
funny
like,
because you
right,
get so
right.
invested in everything that's going on.
And like I'm a lifelong soap fan. I watched General Hospital since I was 3, so
Oh,
for
wow.
53 years. So I really attached to characters. So to me, this was like it was like a soap opera. It was very the characters felt very real.
Yeah.
They were so likable. They had a good, you know, they were multi-dimensional. It was just an amazing show. You know, and it makes me wonder like why the enduring popularity, but also like we were talking in the last segment of that song, "Lot of Love" by Nicola Larson with the flute. You know, why certain songs, why certain things become enduringly popular, and I wonder sometimes like what qualities do they have? You know, sometimes it's like not just like the qualities that the work has, but the time in which it's created, you know, the time and place.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, you know, like "Lot of Love" is a song that's been popular for 40 years. It's a pop song that just stuck and hit and lasted. But now you're playing songs, some of which, what are we talking, like 400 years?
Right.
What do you think it is? Like, what do you think? I mean, there were other composers, I'm sure, at the time who composed. There were other musicians. There have been other composers. What is it about, like, say, Mozart or Bach or whoever else that you can speak to? What is it about them that makes them the who they are?
I think it's, well, for me, most music that's well written is going to have an enduring quality. And of course, there's so many factors, like what group of instruments or singers was this written for? Does it lay well for that ensemble or performer? And in the case of recorded music, you know, did the right performer perform it? You know, I mean, there's so many different things that go into it. But for me, the classical music genre or the romantic music, what we all kind of lump into as classical, serious music, was at one time the popular music. You know, in that time period, that was the pop music. So, and some of it endured and some didn't, and some was lost and some has come back in recent times. So it's just, to me, it's just really how well it was written at the time and how well it was received and how people have let it continue over the years, brought it back to life, or, you know, rediscovered it over time.
An interesting thing I would think with classical music too is like the further away you get from the time in which it was produced, I think the more it becomes stripped of contextual meaning. Like, say, for example, with the song "Lot of Love," you know, that's like a 40-year-old song. You know, now when people hear it now, they don't know who that performer is. They don't know that that performer actually was like a session. She was a session singer for the Doobie Brothers and stuff. All that kind of meaning at the time that I think made it popular, that added to popularity. Nowadays, for modern audience, all that's gone. And I think with classical music too, like, even more so, if you think about it, like, we have sort of like some vague idea of maybe like what a composer looks like with crazy hair, like some vague of like a bust of Beethoven. But that's probably all the idea that we really have, like in terms of cultural construct about the artist. So when you see the work, you really are just really seeing just what's on the page. Whereas, like, say, even like with a performer from 40 years ago, like, say, or 30 years old, say like Madonna, who still has a lot of cultural weight, you know, where like Madonna means stuff. So if you listen to a Madonna song, you can't really listen to it without understanding the context and time period and stuff. But like, say, with a Mozart piece, you really don't know that much anymore about, like, you know, the politics of the time or the culture of the time. So I'm wondering, like, do you feel, and Elizabeth, let me ask you this, like, when you're looking at a piece of music, do you feel like looking at classical music, you see more of like pure text of what the notes were supposed to be, with less like bringing less to it?
I actually kind of like to research a little bit and know.
Okay, so you like to find that stuff out then.
The composer.
Why is that? What have you learned by doing that?
It might help me fill in or even create my own story about a piece. I have private students now.
Does that inform your interpretation?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it helps me because I teach privately as well, and it helps me to relate a piece of music to a student who might be learning it.
Interesting. So you kind of go back and like restore that meaning, that cultural context.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so easy to find things out nowadays. I mean, when we were in college 1,000 years ago, I mean, you had to go like to the listening library to hear the piece. Now you can find everything online, and you know, information and recordings and all of that stuff, and it makes it so much easier to learn a piece and to make it your own and to put your own spin on it and that kind of thing.
Do you still find new stuff? Like, I mean, does a classical performer ever still come across like a new work from Mozart, or like are some composers probably tapped out for, you know? I mean, but are there some like where you're finding like new composers still that like you like? And
oh yeah, I'm finding new new people all
who?
the time. So our So Alliance Classical Players is actually the chamber music ensemble of Rome Community Concert Band. And the band also supports the Alliance Trio, which includes Beth, and a quintet called Jewel Winds, which includes me, and a different flutist. And we're going to be doing a concert in Syracuse in March. We've been doing Women's History Month concerts for a while.
Wow.
And so
that'd be a good start for me to cover too. Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do it in Rome as well. But we haven't set a date or anything.
Let me know, please.
But I will, definitely. So in researching music for that, I stumbled on the composer Claude Ariot, which was actually her pen name, and really love her music. We learned about learned of a composer out in I think she's in Colorado, Carrie Kruver Medina. We played that quintet, the one that we recorded at the church, and she's great. And then Jenny Brandon. So there's a lot of living composers that I would not know about if I weren't able to Google women composers for woodwind quintet on the internet. You know, so, and it's great because I really love their music, and really looking forward to working on it and performing it with the group.
And it's wonderful for it to be heard, you know, the thing that like composing is happening now, just like performance is happening now, you know?
Right, new music is always happening.
Why is it good that it's happening now? Like, why is this important to like do this, to go out and to find new composers? Why is it important to compose? Why is it important to perform? Why is art important?
I think it speaks to the human experience so closely. You know, the composer has an idea and they put it on paper, but it really comes from within. There's some other thing they're tapping into. So emotions and mentality and things like that. And then it goes from the composer to the publisher, who might make some changes. You know, we hope not too many. And then to the performer, hopefully. And then it really, really comes to life at that point. So it's just like bringing a new piece of art into the world. And art is so important, especially in today's world. You know, and live art, live music is so important, especially in this era of AI-generated things. To keep performing, keep bringing new composers out, keep bringing old composers out, and performing for the public and bringing more people in to appreciate and love the music and make it accessible to everybody. All our concerts are free. That's part of our mission.
That's pretty amazing.
And we're able to do that because we get quite a bit of grant funding. This coming up concert is funded by the Sears Family Foundation of Rome and the Music Performance Trust Fund of the Musicians Union Local 78. So we're really lucky to have that and be able to do our concerts for free and welcome everybody to come to them. So
that's amazing.
It is important,
Elizabeth, what does it feel like not to perform this kind of music? What does it feel like to you to hear it?
I like what Colleen said about the importance of live performances, because I love listening to music in my car. I like listening in my kitchen, but when I get a much more personal and intimate experience when I'm sitting in a hall, whether it's listening to a string quartet on the stage or listening to my friends play in these wind pieces or the orchestra. It's just
the realness
connection to the musicians and the connection through the sound, because music is sound art.
It
has no words, but it can mean different things to everyone that's hearing it. But being there live and watching it being performed, hearing it being performed in front of you can't be replicated by a recording.
And we are so lucky in this area because, Beth plays in the Clinton Symphony Orchestra, and a professional level full orchestra that performs right here in the Mohawk Valley on a regular basis. Coming up in May, I think, is the next concert.
Our next concert's planned.
And just high quality performances that are lucky to have here, and there are many other groups that play too, and a lot of different venues and.
We're so lucky this area. There's so much to do. Like there's all these like art galleries and things that all these interesting musicians and poets and spoken word poetry
writers,
and indie filmmakers and stuff. So
very
tell me,
accessible to.
I know, and it's so accessible. Yeah, and your thing is free. That's incredible.
Yeah.
One more time, where, when, why should people come?
This Saturday evening, December 6th at 7 p.m. at Rome Martin Community Center. They should come and enjoy the music and stories and desserts of Downton Abbey, and just a nice time to celebrate the beginning of the Christmas season and reminisce about our show. And even if you haven't seen Downton Abbey, you will love the concert.
Yeah, the music will be great, I'm sure. And just the Christmassy vibe, it's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to that. And I'll have a story in there too for the next show. So, Colleen O'Neil and Elizabeth Evans from the Alliance Classical Players event here. They have a Downton Abbey themed event coming up this weekend. More information on that on my Facebook page, on the show notes. And they were here to tell us all about that. I'll have this whole episode online Wednesday at uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. Our sound engineer is Jonathan Brooks. He's DJ Jay Easy. He's up next with the Easy Ride Home. Jim Hale records the show for YouTube and podcast, and he's our AI content producer. Lily Christopher is our associate producer. Nabil Khan is our entertainment correspondent. And I'm Ron Klopfanstein. I'll be back next week with another Hot Seat Media Monday.